Hello, besties and bosses. How are y'all doing? Let me just pull this up in the group. I apologize that I'm a couple of minutes later than I usually am. My camera was giving me all sorts of issues. I have two different cameras that we use, and one of them just, I feel like there's always a tech issue. Tech is not my strength, but it's also eclipse season, I think. I'm not super into that, but I have a couple of friends who follow it, and I was talking about this with my spin instructor yesterday because things haven't. So I don't think tech happens. I think that's Mercury retrograde, but it's eclipse season. So I don't know. I'm saying that's why it happened. But we're here. I've got a second. I've got a backup camera. It worked, and we get to have a great conversation today. Okay, great. I can see it's in the group so that I can make sure I can answer questions. How are y'all doing? We are closing out or getting really close to the end of Q3, which is blowing my mind. I've been guest coaching in a friend's six-figure mastermind, and I had a call with the ladies yesterday who are incredible. One-on-one, y'all know, is my jam, but it's been really fun to step in and get to work with those ladies. And one of the things I was saying is it's the end of Q3, and I feel like it is something like, maybe this is an age thing where I'm like, I cannot believe how quickly the year went. But really, I cannot believe how quickly this year went. I feel like it's gone so fast. So this is not the conversation today. Today I'm going to share some of the unexpected strategies that helped me make over 1.5 million in the past 5.5 years from one-on-one. But one of the questions I was posing to them, and just something I always think about at the end of each quarter, and I think this is just maybe helpful to know, is I always like to look at not only what went well, like what are the wins, but I like to look at specifically what contributed to the wins, what's working, and also where are the opportunities, not what's not working, because rarely is anything not working in your business. This is something I coach my clients around so much. Really is something not working in your business, but there are always opportunities. And so when something's not working to the level of expectation we had, often there's something we can take a look at. So I really like to look at that quarterly. I also like to look at my revenue quarterly instead of monthly. I think for most of us, that's a lot healthier than getting stuck in that like resetting the calendar at the beginning of every month. That's not our conversation today. It just was coming up. Before I dive into these unexpected strategies, a couple of announcements. First and foremost, this is a celebration, and I don't do free session giveaways very often anymore. I wish I could do them all the time. I love getting to meet and connect with more of you, but I'm going to give away one VIP strategic scaling planning session. You don't have to be scaling. You can use this for anything that's supportive in your business on the mindset or strategy side. If you're live, you just say hello, drop an emoji, drop a comment, you'll be entered to win. We'll pick one winner. I will be giving this to someone who I haven't had the honor or pleasure of coaching and supporting before, so we can give everyone a fair chance. The other announcement for y'all is I hope I announced last week that I'm opening up 2 additional spots on my roster. So I have spots obviously open up from time to time when clients graduate, but these are 2 additional spots. I've kept my roster a little smaller after being overbooked in the past, so I'm opening up 2 additional spots, one in September, one in October. The September spot is full. However, the October spot, I do have a couple of people, I do think that will be full this week, but I have a client going on maternity leave. So for the right person, we can open up one more spot in October. If that's something you're interested in, if you're looking for coaching, business coaching support, and you really feel like I could be the right fit to partner with you to help you grow and scale to build a reoccurring, reliable revenue in your business, whether you're brand new to business or you're further along the 6-figure mark and above and ready to scale, I would love to connect with you. I will drop a discovery call link for that. It's completely free. And if that spot is full, you'll have first dibs on my spots as they become open through the rest of the fall. So I will drop a discovery call, consultation call link for that after the live stream today. And I'll give some more details at the end of our conversation. Okay. Let's dive into the juicy stuff. So let's talk about celebrations, but really what I want to share are some of the unexpected strategies that have supported me. I wrote an email about this, and I think I have a post going out later this group sharing that I crossed 1.5 million at the beginning of this month. So that's in the past 5.5 years from one-on-one. And I think I wrote a post about this. I think what's really interesting is and I think this is important to share transparently, I honestly almost didn't notice. And this is not usually something I would usually track. However, I think it's just helpful to know, and I like to know these things, particularly to show what's possible and to show what's possible with a model. This is not about you do one-on-one or not. Most of my clients don't have a one-on-one model. A lot of them do. A lot of them don't and aren't scaling that way. But I do like to show what's possible with one-on-one, since I know when I came into this space, so many people told me it was just impossible to scale the one-on-one. And so, I like to share for that reason. But really from day to day, nothing changed in my business because my business has just been really consistent. Really, I've just been making consistent, I think it's 62 months at this point, 10K to 40K cash months, 25 to 40K cash months for the past, I think it's 4 years. Don't quote me if that's not exact, but around that time frame. So, from month to month, from day to day, not a whole lot's changing in my business. My business is very, I call it my like happy, boring little life. It's boring in the best way possible. But I do think this is a big deal, and what I'm most proud of, and then I will share the strategy that went into that, but because these strategies, the unexpected strategies have to do with what I'm most proud of. What I'm really most proud of here is whether you think that's a lot of money or you think that's not a lot of money, I'm really proud of two things. One, I'm really proud that I love my business. I love the process of my business. I really did things my way. When I came into this space, I really didn't know anybody else who was making this kind of money from one-on-one. I was told left and right, you can't make money from helping people with mindset. You can't help people. You can't do mindset and strategy for a business. Like, that's not a thing. You can't scale one-on-one. You can't have that many one-on-one clients. Or I just got told so many things about like how everything I was doing was essentially wrong. And so none of this is from a like, haha, like I proved you, but it does feel really good to see even though people were telling me things were wrong, I listened to myself. I trusted myself. I really found a way to make what I wanted work for me. And that's what I coach my clients around. And that's what I hope for you more than anything. What I have just found to be so, so true is what helps you to make a lot of money in business, what helps you to be around year after year. I've been in business for 8.5 years. I've been coaching for 10, been in business for 8.5. These are my first 2.5, 3 years. I just wasn't really tracking revenue and I was making less than 6 figures. So this is from the last 5.5 years. But what I've just so seen to be true is I don't plan on going anywhere. I'm going to be around for a long ass time in business. And I think because I've decided to do what feels good, to do things my way, to find the path that works for me, to not listen to what other people tell me I'm supposed to do or not supposed to do. That's not the unexpected strategy, but I really do think that is like the secret of all secrets. Loving the process and doing things on your terms is what helps you stand the test of time. And look, business is a long game. If you stay in business and you find a way to like what you're doing, you enjoy the process, your results are inevitable. I always say business isn't a race. It's not like who gets there fastest or who makes the most money fastest. It's who's still in business. I've been in business long enough where I've seen so many people who, I just had a past client come in town. We were talking about this on our walk in Central Park, where I've just seen so many people who've had $1 million per year businesses, big people who have just come and gone and left our space. And who knows the reason? It's not for me to say. I think there's lots of reasons, but I think one of them is that they built businesses that got outside of themselves, right? That got past why they started their business in the first place. That got not big. I think you can want a big business. I have a lot of clients who do, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So I don't mean it in that way, but I mean got bigger than what they actually wanted, or like just became something they didn't actually want and didn't actually enjoy, and just became about chasing the money. And so I like, if you hop off this live stream and hear nothing else, I know it sounds so fucking cheesy, but I really, really sincerely believe when you can find a business, the model that you love, a process that you find a way to at least like it, if not love it, and enjoy the day-to-day of your business and have it feel boring, where meaning there's just not a lot of drama, there's not a lot of highs and lows. That to me is like what will help you stand the test of time. The other thing I'm really proud of, and that will also go into some of these unexpected strategies, and I do have a couple really concrete ones, is we have a really high profit margin. And look, one way isn't better than the other, but I know because I'm working with a lot of clients and this is what we're working on and what I support my clients with, but I see this through peers. I see this through people in our space. I see this when I watch Shark Tank. I have been rewatching some Shark Tank with my husband recently, and one of the things that stands out to me is there are all of these companies coming in with these huge evaluations, and they're making millions and millions of dollars per year. There was one came on, they're making like $6 or $8 million, and then they're talking about their profit margin and what they're actually able to pay themselves. And I realized with my, in air quotes, small one-on-one coaching practice that has made 1.5 million in 5.5 years, not per year, I'm taking home more money than these big companies that are complicated and have a lot of problems and need a lot of money and they just need a lot of work. I'm taking home far more money every single year, cash in hand, that I then get to go invest because I have overflow into investments that also make me money than some of these multi-billion dollar companies in our space. And again, one's not better than the other, but I just know a lot of business owners who are making far more money than me revenue wise, but because of the expenses required to run that model are not. And so Yeah, one is not better than the other, but I am really proud of that profit margin that we have, and that, again, whether you think 1.5 is high or low, I'm really proud of how much I get to actually take home from that. And that's in a way where I still invest in one-on-one coaching support. I've had the same coach for 6 years. I really invest in team. I really am, like, I invest in therapy. I invest in a lot of things. So it's not like this is by like scrimping and burning out and working my butt off. In fact, I've taken Fridays off I guess, the past summer, even with the one-on-one model. And that's why I'm able to open up those additional coaching spots that I was sharing about. Hey lady, nice to see you, Kayla. Just nice to have you on live. So those are the things I'm most proud of. But let's talk about some of the surprising or unexpected strategies that helped me make 1.5 million. I think we all know, like, if you're here, you've heard all the regular business strategies. So I could share, about my messaging, my marketing, my model. I think I want to be mindful here to say all of those have contributed to my success and the money I make. Absolutely. I have a rock solid business. I have a very well-oiled machine in terms of the strategies, in terms of, lead generation, client growth, like delivery of my offer, team and systems on the back end. So all of that is there. So what I'm sharing today, I don't want it to sound like it's these things at the expense of the things you need to be a CEO and to run your business like a business. And I think there are some specific, and I just say unexpected because I just don't think people talk about these things a lot. And I think they carry a lot of weight, strategies that I believe have really supported me for, again, I've been in business for 8.5 years. I cannot tell you how many businesses I have seen crash and burn. And businesses making a lot of money have crashed and burned this time. And so these are the strategies I've really seen contribute to the longevity of my business, because if you can create longevity and want to stay in your business and not crash and burn or want to burn your business to the ground, like, that is the secret of all fucking secrets, in my opinion. So the first one here is, and I'm going to give a lot of context here, and I'm also going to give some like research studies to back this up, so it's not just like Kim saying this because it sounds cute, but it's really been allowing myself to embrace the fact that I have a big heart and that I'm a giver. And what I mean by this is, I think this messaging in our online space is you have to be one or the other, right? You're either have a big heart and you're empathetic and you're caring and you're a giver, but then you cannot make money, right? Like, it is like, those worlds don't live together. Or you can make a lot of money, but then you can't have a big heart. You're callous, right? Like, you have to be hard, and you definitely, like, you better not give too much, right? Like, it seems like it's this like very black or white, all or nothing, one or the other world and extreme. And that was one of the things I was told I was doing wrong, right? When I started my business, I was told I was giving away too much, right? I have too big of a heart. Like, that's going to be the detriment of my success. And what I've actually seen is having a big heart and being a giver with boundaries, and I'm going to explain what I mean by this, has been one of the biggest assets that has allowed me to make a lot of money in my business. And that the two, like, these are not things that have to be mutually exclusive or live in different worlds. So I'm going to share a little research, and then I'll share more how this applies to me. So Adam Grant has a book, Give and Take. I don't know if any of y'all have read it. It is, I think, a really excellent book. And what he talks about is there's givers and takers. And the traditional messaging and what we have, like, people believe to be true is, to get ahead in business, to get ahead in life, you need to be a taker. And then if you're a giver, right, you're just like, takers get ahead, givers like fall behind. It's sort of like the messaging. And what they have found is that's both true and not true. So what they have found is takers do get ahead, however, only to a certain degree. And it's been a while since I've read this book, so I might not get the everything exactly perfect here, but I'm giving you the synopsis from my memory. But what they have found is givers both have the most success, right? Get the most, and fall behind the most. They are on the extreme of either side. And really what this has to do with is I'm just going to label this as boundaries, your boundaries around your giving. And really, I think of this in terms of, where am I giving from? So takers absolutely get ahead, but to a certain degree. Givers actually perform better, have more success, can make more money than takers. But givers also will fall behind, and be very, very, very last. And so what I find, and what I found for myself, is being a giver, you're literally seeing givers, having a big heart, being a giver is not something that is detrimental. This is not a quality that makes you a bad business owner, or means you can't make money, or means because you care and you want to give, that you're not going to make money in business. It actually means you can make the most money and have the most success. And I would argue have the most staying power year after year in business, but we have to be a specific type of giver. And so now I'll bring it back to myself and I'll just give some examples and then I'll explain what I mean with this. What I found, and I think Adam Grant talks about this as well, is we can have a big heart and we can be givers, but the strategy here and the way that the way this gets to work for us is we really have to also match that with being available to also ask for and to receive and to see that it is not bad or wrong to also want to sell, to also want to make money, and that there is a way we can give and also sell and make money, right? These can live in the same world, and to have boundaries around this. What I have found personally, again, is it's also, where does my giving come from? Is my giving coming from a place of, I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I think it's bad to sell, or I'm doing this because I think I shouldn't make money, or is it coming from a place where I do really want to have a win-win with people? Like, I'm doing this because I want to be of service, or I'm doing this because I'm a strategic CEO and I know the law of reciprocity. I know that I can both have a big heart and feel good and give something, but when I give something, right, there is a law of reciprocity that I am going to get something in return, but I'm not giving just to get. And I think that's the big difference. I think takers in Adam Grant's Give and Take, it is very tit for tat. When I give, and I think this is the strategy here that will help you get ahead, when I give, I'm not giving for it. It's not like I give and I expect to get back in return. I'm giving because it genuinely feels good to give, and I don't expect anything in return. And I am also available to sell and to get something in return. And I'm really looking to create a win-win situation with clients. And I think that win-win mentality is where having a big heart and being a giver and being a smart CEO and a business owner and a salesperson who wants to make money, I think that's where that intersection happens and where you can have a big heart, be a giver, and also get ahead. I'm hoping this is tracking. Also, y'all, it is like weirdly hot and humid here in New York, and I'm like, if I look red, it is because I think I need the air on. I don't have it on. I'm like sweating right now. I'm not going to get up to change the air conditioning because I want to have this conversation, but I feel like I need to presence that because it's almost distracting me how much, how sweaty I am all of a sudden. It's so strange because I thought we had fall weather. Anyway, I want you to see that, again, these can live together. They're not mutually exclusive. And you can be a smart business person. You can be a business person who wants to make money, who wants to have a great profit margin, who really cares about growing and scaling your business. I absolutely probably hear me talk about money a lot. I love money, but in an unhealthy way, but I have a great respect for it. I love it. But I love how I make my money way more than I love money itself. And I love what I do with my money and how I let my money work for me far more than money itself, right? I think those, again, like there's a nuance there. And how I make my money, it's really important to me that I make my money in a way that feels like it is a win-win. It is a give and take, that I have earned my money, and not in a like, oh, I need to I don't know, I don't deserve it or something like that, but that really does feel important to me. So I think this is where the strategy of you can have a big heart and be a giver, and that will allow you to create win-win situations. And for me, what I have found is when I create a win-win situation, that's how you end up working with clients who are like, pinch me, I can't believe I work with these people, but also clients who stick around. Most of my clients renew at least once, and many of my clients have renewed to work with me for years and years and years. I have clients who've worked with me, I think at this point, for 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. I'm trying to think, at least 5 years. Not that it really matters, but just to see that. And I think one of the reasons for that is there's such a win-win situation that is even the partnership model that I've adopted for my coach, where I'm only paid a base rate and then a 10% percentage of what my clients make after that. That is such a win-win situation, as opposed to just how can I overgive and not get paid well, right? Or never raise my rates, right? That would just be like overgiving. But also on the flip side, I think the difference would be like, also, how can I overtake, where it's like, I'm just going to price gouge and charge as high as humanly possible. I find even the model I have is very win-win oriented. And what that does is it's literally win-win then, right? I win, my clients win. The more my clients win, the more I win, literally with a revenue share model, but also the more my clients win, the more they want to stick around and continue to work with me. And that's really smart business. One of the reasons I made $1.5 million from one-on-one in the past 5.5 years, even though we've had all sorts of funky things go on with the economy during that time, is I have clients who stick around. And I was reflecting this to my coach the other day. I am so grateful. My business feels so easy. Like, yes, I'm great at marketing. Yes, I'm good at sales. Yes, I know how to fill spots, all of that. We have a great, well-oiled machine. And also my business is honestly so easy because I I can open up a spot and fill it if I want to, but I don't usually have a lot of spots that I need to fill because clients stick around. And this is a stat that I'm sure I've shared multiple times before, but it takes so much more time, energy, resources to acquire a client and a sale than it does to keep a client and a sale. This is why, going back to Shark Tank, right? They're always looking at what's the cost of client acquisition and then what is the lifetime value of a client. That's one of the reasons they're looking at those numbers, because it does cost more to acquire a client than to keep a happy client. This is where having a big heart, being a giver, will serve you as a business owner. And I'm sharing this one first because if you hop off, if you don't listen to the whole conversation, if you are a member of this group, I know you have a big heart and I know you're a giver. And so I want you to see that is a quality that can, like, you can really lean into that, but we have to find the way to lean into that doesn't have us forget to also be a CEO and a business owner that also cares about what is that win-win, right? What is that give and take? Not how do I just give without finding that reciprocity for you. And so that is the strategy there. But I also share that again because this is something I really was told, and I want to hear what Tinley has to say here in a second. I was really like drilled in my head when I started my business. And I think I also started business at a time where it was maybe a little bit more of the bro marketing side of things, where it's like, it really was like the messaging that like you kind of had to be tough and a badass and like, not that I don't think I'm a badass, but like being a bleeding heart and caring and being a giver, like that was just going to put you out of business. And I will just share a couple, and then I want to hear Tinley's comment, but I will just share some of the things. Like I gave away during COVID, I created a 6-week sales course. I honestly think it is as valuable as some $1,000 sales courses out there. Full course. It has like 30 something videos in it. And I gave it away for free because it was COVID and people were struggling. And I gave it away for free for over a year. There is no part of making $1.5 million where someone's like, what you should do is pour your time and energy. If anyone who's ever created a course knows what goes into creating a course, and I still have to launch it and market it, right? No one would say that is a good strategy for you. And that was an excellent strategy because I'm also a smart businesswoman, right? I created something that I have a big heart and I want to give, and it's COVID, and let me give this to you. And I'm also a smart business owner, and I know when you have an excellent experience with me in a sales course and it gets you results, you're going to want to hire me. And that sales course in like a week made me $25K just from people who hired me. And over the course of, however, I don't even know what the sales from that directly off the top of my head, but that has made me, I would probably say hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, even though I never charged for it, and now we charge $99 for it. So that's a way where you can have a big heart and be a giver. I built my whole business by giving away free coaching sessions. I mean, that's how I got fully booked. To this day, I'm offering one today to someone, you know, who's live and says hi, who I haven't had the pleasure of supporting before. I'm fully booked. I'm still offering a free coaching. Like, that is me being a giver. And I'm also a smart, strategic businesswoman. I know if you have a session with me and you have a great experience, I'm excellent at what I do, there's a very good chance when I have a spot become available, right? It's a great way for me to see if we're a fit together, and I know you're probably going to want to work with me, right? So both things can be true there, and I really want you to hear that as people with big hearts and givers in this space. It's not one or the other. It's not, how do I now put a wall around my heart and only figure out how to take and to sell and squeeze the money out of every single thing I do. I honestly think that's how businesses go out of business. But it's also not, how do I give everything away for free and never think about what I get to receive, what their reciprocity is. There is that happy medium, but leading with a big heart and giving with finding that way to have reciprocity, being a strategic business person, I promise you, is what will make you not only a lot of money, but will keep you in business for a really long time, because you have clients who stick around and you have people who want to sing your praises. And if you look at any business who's been around for a while, I promise you part of what's at the core of it is people have a really great experience. Tinley says, literally in love with working with you and getting supported by you, knowing we both win-win in our partnership going on 5 years. Oh, Tinley says, hey, guilty. I love you so much, Tinley. Yes, 5 years. You are one of my 5. Isn't that great? Isn't that crazy, Tinley? 5 years. It feels like it was like both yesterday and also like longer than that. And thank you for just reflecting that evidence there. I love you so much. Okay, let me go on to the next one, because I talked quite a bit about the give and take, and I did have a couple other, otherwise I'll go on for 2 hours here. There were a couple other strategies here that felt important for this group in particular. Let me just see here, because I have quite a few, and I don't know if we'll get to all of them. I'm going to speak to the next one. I'm actually going to speak to this one next. I'm mindful of how I want to share this. I'm going to share this one because it's what's worked for me, but I want to be very mindful here that I am not saying this is the right, everything I'm saying here. I mean, everything I always say, it's not, there is no one size fits all in business. So many of my clients, I'm always saying to them, I don't want you to be a mini me. Don't just do what I did or replicate what I did. We need to find what's right and true for you, your business model, your clients, your audience, all of that. But something that I think is an unexpected strategy that has served me really well and given me a competitive edge in a very saturated market. Let's be honest, I'm a business coach. You open your online feed and it's like all you see are everybody claims they're a business coach, right? Like it is not like I am in a blue ocean pool there. I mean, while there might be things that make me more blue ocean because of my approach and the way I partner with clients, right? It is just a very crowded space. And one of the surprising strategies I think has really served me is what Tilly and I are talking about here in terms of the partnership model that I adopted. And again, shout out to my coach, Lacey Sykes, because I learned that from her and I both pay in that model and have that model myself. And this isn't about the partnership model itself, though that I think is a beautiful win-win. But I'm not a super high ticket coach. At this stage in business, I've helped 30 clients make 10K months, 16 clients or more make 6 figures, 3 clients I've supported from early stages of business to $1 million plus in business. And that's with a relatively small one-on-one roster where you're hearing clients stick around and work for years. I don't have a lot of turnover. And I have between 20 to 25 clients at any given point in time. So those numbers are statistically abnormal for the online space and for business. And part of that is because clients stick around for a long time because the results take time, like spoiler alert. But between that and the results I have and the level of experience I bring, I've worked with clients brand new to business and literally helped them go from 0 to $1 million. And I've helped clients and supported clients who are making $2 million plus and have, teams of 30 and kind of everywhere in between. So I have quite a lot of experience I bring to the table. I could easily charge far more money than I do. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back or to blow smoke up my ass. I just could, and I think there would be a market for it. I mean, like, again, I'm not saying this to be, I don't know, I'm like not actually saying this to brag or anything. I just think in terms of like level of experience and results, that wouldn't be crazy. And I think there would be a world in which if I wanted to do that, that would absolutely be okay. And the reason I'm prefacing it that way is if you're in the same position, I don't want you to hear what I'm saying to say, and now you shouldn't raise your rates exponentially. However, that doesn't happen to align with my values and how I think about coaching and the partnership, which is why I have the partnership model. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future, but at this stage, it's just not what actually feels great to me. And I think I'm actually one of the most affordable. I don't like to use the word affordable. I think I'm still quite a high ticket, high investment, but I think for everything I bring to the table, the results my clients get, my experience, I'm one of the most reasonably priced one-on-one coaches, and you only pay more if you make more with the revenue share. So of course, some clients are paying far more to give context there. But I think I think this is one of those unexpected things where it's like, well, how are you making that much money if you're not charging more? One, and that's because of revenue share and also just the number of clients I have. But two, I think it would just be really easy to look at me and be like, well, you should just charge more. Like, don't you want to make money? You should just charge more. You can charge more. And I honestly think that, again, I'm so mindful of how I say this because I don't want people to hear this the wrong way or to go run off and say something. But I think there's just something that is, I think two things are true. I do think there are people I know, because I had calls with them where I have to explain to them why I don't charge more, and it's because of revenue share, because I want to partner with someone, and I want to work with people long term. And so it is fun to me to grow together and to get paid more when you make more money. That's how my business model works. So I actually love that. And I have to explain that because I think some people here, when you charge less, I think they actually like wonder, like, do you actually know what you're doing, or do you have experience? Because I think, most people with my experience are charging 2, 3, 4, 10 times more than I am per month for coaching services. And I also think there's just something here to just name and just to be really, really transparent around. I think it gives me a competitive edge. I think when we are in a market space that is crowded and doing what the economy is doing. And the reason I keep saying I want to be mindful is this does not mean go lower your rates. This does not mean if you charge more than me that's wrong or bad. I have many clients I coach to charge higher rates than I do. I actually just had a conversation with a client last week, and I was coaching them around their rates. And because they have different circumstances, and they're selling at the rate, I said, they should charge more than me. or more than I charge. So you can charge more than your coach, by the way. But just in terms of unexpected things that have supported my results, I do think this gives me a bit of a competitive edge. And I also think this really encourages what's most important to me, and a big part that's supported my sustainability, which is I want to work with clients long term. I'm happy if someone wants to work with me for 6 months, I will love them and bless and release, and like I know we've done great work together, but I just know I've seen this myself. I've worked with my coach for 6 years. I don't need her support because I don't know what I'm doing in business or I can't figure things out on my own, but I just know how valuable it is to have someone who knows me, my business, my audience, like all the things over the long term to continue to be in my corner and support me. And I see that with my clients as well. I know the more I get to know someone, I get to know their patterns, I get to know the stuff that if they worked with someone new, they could like totally trick them on. The more I know their business and their audience, just the more I'm able to support them to get big results. The reason my clients get big results is I'm really invested in them as humans, as well as really invested in their business. And so I do think having not being super, super high ticket, right? Not charging 50K for 6 months, which people do, or not charging even 30K for 6 months. And someone can still pay me that through the revenue share model, but then they're only paying that because they've made, with the math beyond that, 90% more, right? It's still only ever going to be 10% of their new revenue. So it's never going to hit their profit margin anymore. But if I was charging higher right away, I think it just would be harder for people to continue on to work with me long term, especially when I'm working with both new business owners and business owners further along, and just knowing that everybody has a different rate of growth, right? Some people pop. I've had clients in 3 months replace their corporate salary and make 6 figures. I've had clients make 6 figures in 6 months, right? And I've had clients where it's taken a year or two because results take time. We're all coming in with different things to the table, different models, all of those things. So I think this both gives me a competitive edge, but I think it also really supports the business model that works for me. And what I was saying at the beginning of the live stream, at the end of the day, why I think I have the results I do, and why I think I'm still in business and I know I'll be in business for another 10 years, and why I have such consistency with my revenue is I like what I do. I've picked the model that works for me instead of what everybody else told me to do. I genuinely love my work. I genuinely love the process of running my business, right? And because all of that feels good, I'm able to keep showing up for it. I don't want to burn it to the ground. I'm not always burning myself out, trying to create new things, do new things, right? That creates a lot of sustainability. And so this is a big part of that. This is not to say if you charge more, that is wrong, or if you're struggling to book clients, you should lower your rates. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is this supports what makes me feel really good in business and part of what creates sustainability for me, which is those long-term client partnerships. Hopefully that nuance makes sense. I want to see what Tinley says here. Tinley says, I actually love that so many of my clients are also focusing less on being super high ticket and are rather focusing on the level and quality of the client they want to welcome in. You don't necessarily have to charge more to make more. It feels good. Heck yeah. It can also feel amazing to speak to the masses and make a ton of money. We get to do whatever we want and make it work for us and our values. 1,000%. I love you for saying that, Tinley. And again, I'm going to say this one more time because to what Tinley is saying, I have clients who make $1 million per year and they have some high ticket offers, and then they make most of their money by, like what Tinley's saying, is serving one too many at quite a low ticket, right? That is one way to scale. I also have clients who are making $1 million per year who charge, I don't even know what they charge at this point. It's been a while since we've talked pricing, but who charge exponentially more than me. But that is what is right for them and their model and their audience and who they're serving and what's working there. And then you have someone like me, right? And I'm by no means low ticket at all. And especially with revenue share, I have clients who pay me quite a bit per month. Again, it is relative to what they're making. And so everybody's paying me a different amount. But I'm, probably somewhere in the middle. But I do think really finding what works for me and what works for the goals I have, right? The values I have, what's important to me in my business to feel good, as well as the monetary side, is why, is the unexpected strategy here that really worked. So this isn't about high ticket, low ticket. So I love that you said that, Tinley, but it is really about finding what's right for you. And then also just knowing if you don't want to charge as high ticket, it does just give you a competitive edge. I think that is just true. If there's another coach who's charging $50K per month for 6 months, and I charge a base rate of $1,550 per month plus 10% new revenue, we both have kind of similar experience and you like both of us, let's just be honest, right? That does just give me a competitive edge. And I'm not knocking myself. I'm not saying I'm not a great coach and someone would want to hire me anyway if I was $50K, and that if you charge $50K that someone won't want to hire you. But if I do think that's just something, just be transparent and fair about. Okay, let's see, what's the next one I want to share here? I'm going to share this last one, and then if we have time, I have one other unexpected strategy. But these, again, I wanted to share stuff that wasn't just like business model or marketing strategies or sales strategies, because I talk about those all the time. These are just some of the unexpected things that I've really just seen support me. So this kind of goes back to the give and take conversation we were having, but it's a bit of a nuance, and it actually feels important to speak to, because I know in my group I've got givers, and this could be misunderstood. And I also know I probably have a fair amount of people who have an anxious attachment style or some anxiety that shows up in their business. So I want to give some nuance here. But the unexpected strategy is over delivering instead of trying to squeeze out every dollar and maximize, like, how can I make the most money out of every minute of my day, because I'm trying to scale my business, and seeing that that's not necessarily what actually supports me to scale. So I'm going to give a lot of nuance and context here. So the first thing I want to say is there's a really big difference between over delivering because you want to and it feels good, or because it feels good and it strategically supports your results and how you get paid, and over delivering because you feel like you're not good enough. People won't stick around if you don't pay them, if you don't deliver more, because you're worried that clients are going to not like you, right? Those are very, very different reasons to over deliver. And so that's the first thing I want to say there. So what I have seen to be true is over delivery is, when it's coming from the right place, is something that, especially if you have a revenue share model, right? Like, that supports client results. But at the end of the day, like, clients can never make more money. I mean, I want clients to make more money, but like, that's not why I over deliver. I over deliver because it feels really good to actually do my job. And what I see my job as is supporting clients. And I have found that there are ways I can over deliver that doesn't actually take a lot from me, but really makes a big impact to my client and makes them feel really good about their investment. And I feel that when I can deliver far more value than what someone is paying for, in air quotes, right? That's how we have a great experience. That's what has us want to refer people. That's what has us want to stick around and renew, right? When I feel like I'm getting more than I paid for my coach, for example, when I feel like I go to a restaurant and they over deliver and I get more than I paid for it, I just want to come back over and over again. And so I think it's just a really smart business strategy. I just think the concept of over delivery gets misconstrued and turns into a way that we burn out, or turns into a way that we try to soothe our anxiety. And that's not what I'm speaking about here. So what I'm talking about is I buffer 15 minutes between client sessions. If I have an extra 5 or 10 minutes and a client session is technically done, I'm more than happy to over deliver and give my client an extra 5 or 10 minutes. If I don't have a client session afterwards, I'm more than happy to over deliver and give an extra 5 or 10 minutes. Technically, and I think a lot of coaches would do this, right? Like, they just want to end and be off the call as quickly as possible, or hope that you don't book their calls. I'm not going to do that. I technically only have to, by contract, check in with clients once every 24 hours and respond. And that's what I hold myself to. And if I'm busy and if I can't, like, that's when I will respond. And often my clients know that I will respond more than once within 24 hours. And oftentimes, if they have a content review that I usually have a week turnaround on, but they really need it for a launch, if I'm able to, I will often over deliver and get them feedback back sooner. So that's what I mean by over delivery. These are all things that are within the scope of our job. I'm not over delivering in a way where it's like, I now feel like I need to run my clients' businesses, or step in and overcompensate, or step in and give them an extra session where, they haven't invested or paid for that, or where I feel like I now need to go and like be in control of their results or their business. That's not over delivery. That is an unhealthy relationship with your clients, and that's a whole different conversation we could have. Similarly, if I'm someone who has anxiety, I've talked about that quite a bit. Apparently what my therapist said is I have high functioning PTSD that manifests as some anxiety. So TMI, but there you go. Right? I'm not going to, if I'm having a anxious response come up in my body about something that has nothing to do with business, try to use my business as a way to self-soothe by over-delivering. Or, this isn't necessarily something that comes up for me, but I know this comes up for clients a lot. If I was feeling really anxious about a client relationship, or like if a client is going to renew, again, I feel quite neutral around those things, but if that were something for me, I wouldn't be, let me like do a bunch of stuff to try to prove my worth. I guess proving is the thing there. That's not what over delivery is, right? That's proving energy. That's trying to self-soothe our anxiety. That is it's a recipe for burnout, quite honestly. So that's not what I'm talking about here. But over delivery from the place of, does this feel really good? Is this something I'm available to do, right? Like, am I happy to make an exception here and over deliver? Do I know that I do not have to do this and clients would still be perfectly happy? That is a place I will over deliver from. And I have just found how having that mentality and seeing that over delivery can be these really small little things, how that kind of over delivery, instead of trying to figure out, again, how do I think what I'm really wanting to say or like paint the difference here is that kind of over delivery versus how do I just try to squeeze every single dollar out of a client or every single dollar out of every single minute of my day. And to me, that just sounds miserable. Like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to like schedule my time by 7-minute increments and get paid that way. I thought about going to law school. That bless all of you who are lawyers, that kind of getting paid doesn't feel good to me. And that's not how I want to partner with clients. So that's really what I'm talking about. And I've just seen how that has supported making 1.5 million in so many different ways. Again, it's supported clients sticking around. It's supported clients getting better results, right, with revenue share. But it's also, it's supported, again, like it just actually has had me build a business. I feel like this is a theme of our conversation today that actually fucking feels good to show up for. And I find when I lead with that, and I feel like there's so much nuance in this conversation. When I lead with what feels good, I make money. However, there's a really big difference with leading with what feels good versus trying to avoid things that feel uncomfortable. So I still also do the things that feel uncomfortable, right? Sometimes the thing that feels good is sitting in the discomfort and doing the uncomfortable thing, having the hard conversation with a client, right? That could be a form of not over delivery, but a way that I might stay on a call with for a couple of minutes. So we're kind of like macro, micro, like macro, like what feels good. Micro, I'm very willing to be uncomfortable. And I've gotten very comfortable being uncomfortable. So that's not what I'm talking about. Because I think sometimes we hear do what feels good and we use that as an excuse to avoid the discomfort in our business or the very things we need to do that actually move the needle forward. That's not what I mean here. But I mean overall, on the macro, over delivering because it feels good, choosing the model that feels good, being a giver because it feels good, and also I feel like the other theme of this conversation is also being a strategic CEO and business owner who understands that when you serve people well, when you give people something, right, that's of high value, when people have a great experience, when you deliver excellent service, these are all things that, law of reciprocity, right, those are all things that make you money. I was a server for 10 years before I opened my business. When I was acting, I waited tables and I worked in a bar for 10 years. I made excellent tips, but one of the reasons I made excellent tips is because of all the things we're talking about here, right? I know if I serve really well, if I'm a giver, if I go above and beyond, if I, all of these different things I did, I got better tips across the board. I always sold more and got better tips than I'm not patting myself on the back, literally, than anyone I've ever worked with. I had a manager once say, I have never seen anyone rack up sales in a bar the way you do. But it's all of these things we're talking about here. And so I want you to see how these all feel like almost like fluffy, feel-good strategies, but they're actually strategies that are rooted in what actually drives results and sales and revenue and money in your business as well, and that both things can be true. And just because you're doing something to be a good person or because it feels good doesn't mean it can't also be really strategic and make you money in your business. Oh wait, y'all, I went off on a rant and I didn't see. Okay, let me see. Alyssa says, glad I caught this. Hi, Alyssa. Kayla says, such deep substance here. Excited to potentially work with you in the future, living your strategies and mindset. Same, lady. I hope I get the honor of supporting you. I'm so glad this is landing for you. All right, y'all. Do you want one more? I've got one more super quick one. I'm going to share one more super quick one. If you can't hang live, that's totally fine. But we've got like 10 minutes here. We'll do one more, even though I am sweating. Anybody else in New York City? Is it super hot or is it just my apartment? I feel like my hair is growing by the minute. I feel like the humidity came out. Hopefully I'm not like perimenopausal or something, having a hot flash. I think it's actually the weather though. All right, TMI, y'all. I am way TMI. All right, let's go to the last unexpected strategy. So the last unexpected strategy, and I'm going to give nuance again here, but I think one of the things that has helped me scale, I feel like I've talked about this in different ways over the years, but has been focusing on doing things that don't scale to scale. I first heard that term from Rich Litvin, to give credit where credit is due. And I think this is one of the most underrated strategies, ironically, to scale your business that we don't talk about enough in the online space. I've been watching Shark Tank, like I said, I've been watching all the old reruns, and something I notice over and over again is how often the sharks, who, the reason I like to study them is they have business experience like on crack, because they are just exposed to, and they're investing in so many businesses, right? Like they just have the level of, like, I get to see behind the scenes of businesses all day, every day. It's when someone hires me, one of the benefits they get is not just that I'm a great coach, but I'm seeing between my business, all of my clients' businesses one-on-one, and the different masterminds I'm in, I'm seeing what's working, what doesn't work. The sharks have that on like multiplied times, I don't even know how much, in terms of like what they get to see. And so I'm really fascinated by how, when there is someone who comes in and they're just talking about all of the offers they're going to have and how quickly they want to scale and how big they want to scale, and like how everything is about like scale, fast, how the sharks will always say, I'm really, really worried about hearing how much you want to scale for the sake of scaling, how quickly you want to scale, how fast you are moving, and for those reasons I am out. Every single time. I just finished reading the book Company of One. Great read. A lot of stuff you probably already know, but I thought it was a good read, a good reminder of a lot of concepts. And one of the reminders in there is one of the biggest reasons businesses fail is because they scale too quickly. My husband worked in the startup space for a short interim before we retired him, in air quotes, meaning he got laid off and now he acts again. And thankfully my business can absorb that, and he's acting, so I'm the breadwinner, which is kind of a fun role reversal. But point here is what we saw in the startup space, and the reason he got laid off, they had mass layoffs, is the startup space like that he was in, they scaled too quickly. Because they scale too quickly, right? There's just a lot of challenges, infrastructure problems that happen with that. They were just lopsided in terms of profitability. Like, without going into all of the things there's just a lot of problems that can happen. And so scaling, I am all about sustainably scaling. If you've signed up for my masterclass 20K Months Multiplied, I talk about the 5 components you need to sustainably scale. I'm sustainably scaling my business. I'm proving you can scale a one-on-one model. Scaling at the end of the day is just having your revenue or your income outpace your expenses. It's just what happens when a lot of businesses try to scale too quickly is, again, they're not actually scaling, right? They're just doing things at scale. Doing something at scale is very different than actually scaling your revenue more than your expenses, right? I'm not doing a lot of things at scale, but my revenue is scaling. I am continuing to make more take home more profit. Essentially, my revenue is outpacing the expenses we need and the time we need to make that revenue, thanks to the revenue share model, right? So I'm still scaling, though I am not doing things at scale at all. But our online space teaches, I think, for the most part, that you need to have a scalable offer, and to have a scalable offer means you need to do things at scale, and you need to do things at scale. And if you can't do things at scale, you are fucked, and you do not have a good business, and you will not make money. And one of the things I think has supported me the most is learning from Rich Litvin and hearing that early, that you want to do things that don't scale to scale. And really what I hear that to mean is when you can find the things that aren't possible to do at scale, those are often the very things that will allow you to actually scale your revenue, right? Which, again, scaling your revenue, so your revenue is outpacing your expenses, is very, very different than doing things at scale. But I keep saying that difference. And so that has been, I think, both something that the online space has told me I'm wrong about. Everything I do in my business, I've been told, has been wrong. And because I listen to both, like, trust in myself, but also, listen to what felt good, but also listen to things that are actually sound strategy, not just the noise that can get perpetuated in our online space. But when I study actual businesses and not just, I don't want to say pseudo businesses. I don't want to say other people don't have businesses. But when I look at what actual businesses do to actually scale, these are some of the things even huge companies are doing. They are looking for the things that don't scale to help them to scale. I think I shared this example on a live stream probably a year ago, and it's worth sharing now. This is like such a silly example, but it's just an example of what I'm talking about. And y'all know the brand I think it's Todd Snyder. My husband and I, actually October, we went shopping. He wanted a new pair of jeans and new shirts. We went to Todd Snyder. We got him some new fun stuff. And it was like a couple of days later, we got a personal email thanking us for the purchase and they wanted to check in on a couple of things. They had a question about something, and then they recommended something based on what my husband bought, like for him. And such a like little thing, but it was not an automated email. It was like we had the personal like response back and forth. That is, Todd Snyder is a relatively, I don't know how many millions of dollars, but they're a relatively big brand, right? They are selling things at scale, but that was doing something that does not scale, that absolutely was a strategic play to help them to scale their revenue. Because what they did there is, I mean, there is nothing at scale about sending a personal message to someone at all. And that personal message, I was like, I mean, like, this is like good on you. And the recommendation here, I like now take it seriously. And now not only are we more likely to buy that thing you just offered us, but we're also more likely to be a loyal customer. And look, here I'm talking about it here, right? Or to refer them. And so that's what doing things that don't scale to scale looks like. And understanding there's a really big difference between doing things at scale versus scaling your revenue. And so really that's just been a big cornerstone of my business. I will still hop on free consultations. I will still give a free session away when I have capacity in my calendar. I will still send personal emails. I often hear from people where they're like surprised that I respond to something, or the level of support I'll give them, or insert X, Y, and Z. None of those things are things I can do at scale at all. They are not scalable actions. They are not things that you'd be like, that is a great way to scale your business. And those are all actions and strategies that have absolutely supported scaling my revenue. And so I'm really mindful of the difference between the two. And what I care about is scaling my revenue, right? So that my revenue is continuing to outgrow my expenses. My expenses stay pretty stationary. Right? So anything at this point now over like base rate, like where I was before, is all extra revenue, right? My profit margin just continues to increase, as opposed to my expenses always continuing to keep up with my expenses. So I'm very aware of the difference. I chase scaling my revenue, not scaling doing things at scale. And you can do things at scale that will also scale your revenue. So this, again, is not to say don't do things at scale. I think ManyChat is a good example of something you can do at scale. Or if you want to have an offer that's one-to-many, that's doing something at scale. Those can be very scalable strategies and business models. So I don't want to say that those are wrong. We do those things as well, right? I automate emails. We do lots of things that are automated and scalable. But finding those things that do not scale, that you can strategically implement, absolutely will also contribute to scaling your revenue. And I know, I see this with clients with launches, for example. I see this with peers with launches. We see people have a 6-figure launch and we think they have just cracked the code on like how to run ads to an automated funnel to like do everything that is completely offhand. And what I just see so often to be true is the people who are having 6-figure launches who are making $1 million a year, yes, of course, they have to have a scalable business model. Yes, of course, they have to have scalable strategies. And they are also willing to do things that don't scale strategically, right? They're not just giving away their time to anybody. They have boundaries, right? This is strategic, but they are strategically looking for the windows and the opportunities to do things that don't scale. In fact, that is one of the biggest challenges. Todd Snyder is such a great example of this. Todd Snyder, they probably wish they could do more things that don't scale, right? The more you scale, the more you are actually looking for what are the ways you can bring in those strategies that don't scale, because they make such a big difference in your ability to actually scale your revenue. And so I've just seen that across the board with clients and with peers. And it's just not something we can always, we tend to just see like whatever we see on social media, we can't see what people are actually doing. And so I think that is the last nugget I wanted to leave y'all. All right. Thank you for hanging with me. I hope this was valuable for you. This was fun. This was fun for me. Thank you for celebrating with me as well. It's, like I said, it's both one of those things that didn't really register for me, but it also feels like a big milestone. And I'm really proud that all of this is also based on revenue my clients are making. So that also feels particularly good. And I will close with just a reminder, if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, I love all of these unexpected strategies, I would love to implement some of these in my business, but I could also use support with the foundational business strategies, the core strategies to get clear on my business model, to get clear on my offer, to get clear on my pricing, to get clear on my messaging, to get clear on my marketing strategy, to get clear on my sales process. So I have that well-oiled machine you were talking about, Kim. I would like to know how to have sales come in reliably on repeat. So I know if I do these things, I'm going to get sales, and I want to know, or I'm at the place where I want to know how to scale my business, and I want to do so in a way that's sustainable. And I could use support with that on both the CEO thinking mindset side of things and the strategy side of things. I would love to support you. Like I said, we did open up 2 additional spots. The September spot is full, but we should still have, I think I have some people talking for the October spot, but I will still take calls for the October spot. We might open up one more, and then we will have some spots opening up later this fall. And if those fill up, we will still have coaching intensive. So I will drop a discovery calling for you. I'd love to support you. I'd love to coach you. If you can't tell anything else, what I love the most about the 1.5 million I've made is that I've made it doing the work I love, which is supporting people like you, which is coaching, which is helping people to grow and scale their businesses in a way that feels really good on their terms. I always say, do not want you to be a mini me. I have zero desire for you to build the business I have. Most people would hate the business I have. It just happens to work for me. I want to help you find the business model that works for you, the strategy that works for you. I want to help you find sustainability and know that you can make money in a way you can count on that's profitable so you can pay yourself well. That's what I'm looking to do, and that's what I love to do. So Kayla says, thank you, high value, Kim. So grateful to have you here. Thank you for saying that. All right, I love you all so much. We'll pick the winner for the free session soon, and I will be back next week with another fun topic for you. Bye.